es el día. Les dije que las ideas iban a ser historia y creo que empiezan a hacerlo. Paul McCartney está con nosotros, en casa, como va a estar el 9 y el 11 de diciembre, en ese estadio con todos ustedes. Ha sido a Brasil y ahora a la Argentina. Nunca antes ni los Beatles ni Paul McCartney. Primera vez. ¿Qué expectativas tiene Paul?
Buenos días.
Buenos días. Buenas noches.
Tardes.
Y buenas noches.
Noches. Tardes, días, whatever. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to it. The thing is that I like Latin countries. You know, whenever we come to anywhere like speak Spanish, or we always have a good time. You know, we had a great time in Brazil. And it should be good. You know, all the band's looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. We're looking forward to seeing the Argentinian people. We're going to play 3 nights in Buenos Aires, I think. I think so, yeah. So it's good. We're going to bring the show. We're going to play and sing to the people. I'm going to have a good time. We're going to have a party.
Este es un momento, además, que me parece la gente argentina lo va a recibir muy bien, porque además en el set de canciones de McCartney están los Beatles, está el espíritu Beatles, estando Paul.
On this tour, we do about half Beatles songs and half non-Beatles songs. So there's quite a lot of Beatles spirit in there, you know. There was a time when, after the breakup of the Beatles, none of us really wanted to do Beatles songs. You know, we kept away from them just because the memory of the breakup was a bit painful. But now so much time's gone by that it's good fun to do them again, you know. I don't really think about the breakup now. I just think about the songs and the happy memories. And so it's good to do songs like, you know, Penny Lane, Back in the USSR, etc.
¿Te divierte cantarla?
Yeah, it's good. Because we didn't do them for so long, it's like they're new songs, you know, because we kept away from them for a long time. So now when I'm doing them, I've got to relearn them, got to go back to the record and remember what the words are, and I sometimes get them wrong, just a little bit. Not in Argentina. Never in Argentina. I get it all right in Argentina. Todos correctos.
Todo bien.
Sí.
Está bien.
Naturalmente, amigo.
Sí, señor. Ahora, ¿cantarlas es un placer personal o lo haces por la gente?
Yeah, both, you know. When I was a little kid, I used to go to shows, and it costs a lot of money. You know, if you haven't got much money, you save up for weeks, you know. So when I used to go, I used to want to see people do a really good show. So I always think of that, you know, when I'm playing to the people. We try and give them what they want. But also, it's good fun for us, too. That's a nice thing about this tour, you know. It's, I think the audience is having a good time and the band's having a good time. And, you know, with only 3 shows in Argentina, that's not many at all. So we'll give it a good whack.
Sí, más que 3 shows, vas a vivir 3 fiestas de emoción.
Yeah, I think so. You know, when you haven't been to a place, you know, like Argentina, you hear a lot about it, and people who've been there, they tell you all about it. But I've got a feeling, you know, that it's going to be special. Yeah, you know, like I say, Latin countries are always very good for me. I don't know why. The spirit's always very hot and they're up. And they don't just sort of sit there like, it's like, yeah,
y cantar.
And, you know, they sing along. So, yeah, it's going to be good fun.
¿Qué puede motivar al más grande compositor contemporáneo, que para mí es Paul McCartney, en esos tiempos, vivo y componiendo? ¿Qué lo motiva para escribir una nueva canción?
No, it's always the same for me. It's just because I like it. It's just because I love it. You know, when you sit down and there's no song in your head, and you think, okay, I'll try and write a song now, then it's like magic. There's a magic comes in the air, you know, and you start to get ideas. And it's a magic process, you know. It's I don't know how I do it. I don't, you know, people say to me, well, how do you do it? Would you do the words first, or do you do the music first, or you get an idea? It's different every time.
Pero es mejor, digo, estar trabajando cuando viene la inspiración, no sea que estoy durmiendo cuando está la inspiración, ¿no?
Well, you know, but the thing is, like yesterday, the song yesterday, I was sleeping, and I woke up one morning, and I had I mean, what's that, you know? And I asked everyone for weeks, went around saying, what's this tune? Oh. And because I didn't believe I'd written it, because I didn't actually sit down to write it. It just came to me, you know. So that's why I say it's magic. It's just a magic thing, and it's great fun to do. And when you've finished, you know, you've got this new song in the world, and it's like, ooh, it's like a magic thing.
Paul, en los años 90 todavía uno escucha en los artistas nuevos el espíritu Beatles, la atmósfera Beatles en muchas canciones. Más, en algunas, Beatles directamente, digo. ¿Cómo recibís vos esto de escuchar por allí todavía a los Beatles en otros? ¿Cómo lo recibís?
Well, I think it's great. You know, because what you get is you get a lot of younger bands, and they could just ignore the history of the Beatles in the 60s. It could just be something they've forgotten. But my own kids listen to music from the 60s, and I think now there's like a resurgence of that. A lot of young bands now are looking back to the 60s. And so I think it's an honor, you know, it's a tribute. That they still want to hear them. I mean, I play some of the Beatles songs, and my own kids say, I never heard that one before, because they weren't there, you know. And I had some relatives in Liverpool who were younger when the Beatles, they were babies when the Beatles were coming out, and they say, oh, you know, I wish you'd go on tour, because we missed it the first time around with the Beatles. They said, we wish you'd go on tour. So I go out on tour, and I invite them along, and say, come on, you come and listen, you know. And it's not the Beatles, of course, you know, but it's me, it's the Beatles songs. The band plays very well, I think. You know, it gives a good impression of the Beatles. So it's great to do, you know. And I think it's a great tribute that people now are still listening to the Beatles, and the Beatles are still influencing modern bands.
Pero en algún momento a vos te preocupó no copiarte a vos mismo. Es hora de que sepas que todas esas canciones son sello McCartney.
Yeah, there was a time after the Beatles I thought, well, you know, maybe you should make some new style. Maybe you should leave the Beatles style alone. But after a while I thought, well, it's a natural style for me. It's a style that I helped to create with John and George and Ringo. So it's silly if anybody else does it. I mean, Billy Joel will go to Russia and he'll sing Back in the USSR. You know, so if he's going to do it, I'm going to do it, you know.
¿Te ha sido difícil encontrar otros socios compositivos como lo supiste tener con John Lennon alguna vez?
Yeah, there's nobody can compare with John, I don't think. Me and John together was a very special, magic combination, you know. We knew each other from when we were pretty young. I mean, I must have been, I think I was about 15 and he was about 16 when we met. So that's real young, you know, and you come up through that as really good friends. So it's impossible to replace John. But the good thing about it was that we often used to write separately. I wrote Yesterday on my own, Eleanor Rigby, Let It Be. So there were quite a few like that. So when we stopped writing together, it wasn't too bad, just because of that one fact. If everything had been exactly equal, it would have been impossible, because he's a hard act to follow, that boy.
¿Le hubiese gustado a John, si viviese, pensás vos que fuiste su amigo, estar cantando hoy canciones de los Beatles? ¿Él también lo haría?
Yeah, I think so. I think probably enough time would have gone by. You know what happens? It's the young people who want to hear it. You think, well, you know, we've had the Beatles period. Maybe it's time to just leave it alone. Let it be a history. But then what happens is the young kids come up, or your own kids come up and say, hey, Dad, what's that song, Penny Lane, or something? I mean, my son was asking me just the other day about the name of, yesterday, in fact, he was asking me about the name of the Beatles. He said, how did you get that name? And I was telling him the story, you know, I was saying, well, you know, it's partly to do with the Marlon Brando film where the gang were called the Beatles. And then we went on, I'm telling him the whole story. He said, oh, that's good. So that's what happens. The kids ask you, and you get interested again. You go, that's a pretty good story, you know. And then he says, oh, I love that song. You know, you do? Okay. And you do it because the young people love it, you know. I think if it was just old people everywhere, we might have faded into, you know, the past. But the young kids keep returning you, you know. My son is now 16, so he's into guitar, he likes Jimi Hendrix and stuff. So I'm going through it all again. It's like the 60s again for me.
Ahí en tu último disco, Fuera del Suelo, hay una serie de canciones que no tan preocupado por dar otro mensaje, por dar un mensaje de que la gente puede y de que hay esperanza de liberación y que cuidemos la tierra, ¿no? Estas son tus preocupaciones humanas hoy, de hombre.
Yeah, you know, it's, I think it's important, you know, I've got 4 children, and if we just wait for the governments to make everything okay, sometimes they're not very good, you know. They often go with whoever's the greediest person. Somebody needs to make money, you know, so they cut down the Amazon, for instance, you know. And I think, so someone like myself, you know, who's in the public eye, who gets on television and stuff, I always think it's necessary. And I think a lot of people want you to say these things because they don't have the voice themselves. I was watching a program last night on the television about mercury poisoning in the gold digging in Brazil. You know, everybody's got mercury in them. And these things, you know, it's a shame that people can't get it right. So I just hope that something I say may remind someone. So we do things like about the environment, animal rights we're very keen on. In the film that we show before the film is about cruelty to animals. And I think if it just makes one person think about it, they just think, you know, maybe the way we're going, maybe it needs to change. Then I think, you know, that's maybe pretty good. And on the new album, we have a couple of songs like that. And yeah, it is hopeful, you know, because I think too much stuff is just, oh, the world, you know, everything's going wrong, because it's a tough world. It gets tougher by the minute, you know, it's dangerous. It's difficult for people who don't have much money, you know, and there's wars and all this stuff, and there's AIDS and all this stuff, you know, and the environment. So I like to try and give people a little bit of hope, you know, hope of deliverance. Come on, people, we can do it. It's like the 60s, you know, we did all this in the 60s, we believed this in the 60s. Then the 70s came and it sort of all went by the board. So we're trying to reawaken it now, you know. I think it's a good idea, and people respond to it, particularly the young people. You know, you look tonight, you see the young people in the audience, you see their eyes, you know, and they believe it, you know. So I think it's a good thing, as long as the message you're giving is good, you know, like the Beatles said, all you need is love, and you had people, you know, so I think that's the trick.
Ahora mismo que se te ve tan bien, que se te ve tan relajado, ¿no? Pienso, a este McCartney que pasó por tantas, ¿qué lo formó? Esa mamá que lo dejó a los 14 años, aquel Jim, su papá, su vida aquella en Liverpool o esta otra vida que conocemos más públicamente. ¿Qué fue lo que lo formó realmente, que él siente que por eso tiene su personalidad?
I think a mixture, you know. I think that originally that my mother and father, you know, I had a real good family. I was very lucky. Some people, I only found out recently, some people have terrible childhoods, you know, they have all sorts of problems. But I had a few problems, you know, you get beat up occasionally and you know, it was a tough place where I came from. But my family was really good, you know, had really good values, and they wanted me to succeed. So with their help, you know, I kind of got on and then got into the Beatles and the music world. And then I think in the 60s then, I think we had a liberation that meant you came from the good family thing and it went up. And I think the combination was really what's contributed to the success.
Quizás aquel comienzo ayudó para todo lo explosivo que fue después, ¿no? A no irse muy lejos.
I think the thing is, people sometimes say to me, how come you're still sane? Because, you know, a lot of people who have a big success, they get very big-headed, you know. To me, there's never any point in that. You know, I like just people. I don't like big stars and stuff. You know, they think they're better than they are. So I'm a great believer in keeping your feet on the ground, you know. So even though the album's called Off the Ground, but got a little joke there. So that's the way I like to be. That's the way I like my friends to be. That's the way I like to be with people, because then it's easy to get on with people. If you're a great big star and you get shy of everybody, you have a terrible life, you know. So that's the way it was in Liverpool. That's the way it was in the Beatles. And so I try and keep it that way, you know, and try and keep a little bit of ordinariness just so, because it's more pleasant in life, you know.
Otros con menos Paul se creen profetas.
Yeah, you know. I mean, you know, it's nice to be successful, but I think if you start to believe that you are the greatest, it can go for your head, you know. A lot of people have fallen by the wayside. They're just thinking, get me my tea! Who are you? You know, and it's like people start thinking, you know, so I don't do that. I just try and stay sort of roughly normal.
Una canción de McCartney, si puede haber una.
One? Anything?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anything? Oh, hey.
Anything yesterday.
Anything.
Fuera
Anything yesterday. Let it be.
Let it be.
Let it be. There's so many, you know, people sometimes say to me, what's your favorite? I often say Here, There and Everywhere, because I think that's nice musically. I like Let It Be because there's a hope in it. I like some of the new songs. It's difficult to judge the new songs against the old songs. The old songs have been around so long, and they're so successful, and there's so many memories. But a lot of people on this show talk about a song, Come On People, a new song. That goes down very well in the shows, because and in Germany, the big song, all the Beatles, was Hope of Deliverance.
Hoy podés haber encontrado el equilibrio entre el artista y el hombre. ¿Hoy sentís que lo pudiste encontrar?
I think so. You know. I think, yeah, I think I try and make a balance now. I mean, here I am now in Toulon in France doing a big TV interview for Argentina, you know, big show. This morning I was just out in the woods riding a horse with Linda. We were just out, you know, just on the horses and just looking at my sheep and just, you know, talking, just ordinary, you know. So that's what I try and do, keep a balance. On the one hand, we have the big show, we have the celebrity. But on the other hand, when I'm not doing that, I just try and take it easy. Talk to ordinary people. You know, a lot of my friends are just ordinary people, you know, the local people. And I think that's a good thing, to try and get a balance. Otherwise you go crazy, you know. Loco.
Allí hay muchos amigos, nuevos y viejos amigos de Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Nunca lo conocieron, van a estar cerca tuyo en diciembre, ahora, en la Argentina. Dicen que los Beatles, es decir, Paul McCartney, no nacieron en Liverpool, nacieron en Buenos Aires, en mi barrio. Eran mis vecinos. Tú lo sabes.
That's a funny thing, you know, that's the international thing. You know, I think that before the Beatles, stars were big people on hilltops in big mansions. But with the Beatles, everybody everywhere could relate that we were just kids, just honest kids, very honest, which is like kids in your neighborhood. You say, you know, what do you think of this record? Don't like it. And so I think that was a big part of the Beatles, I think the honesty. So I think people everywhere, you know, people come up to me, hey, Paul, and it's like we've known each other. It's like I grew up with them, you know, and I've never seen them before. But I know what they mean. Hey, yeah, Beatles, yeah, man, sure, you know. And I can get on with people like that because it's an international thing. I think it's working class as well. It's the international working classes, you know, it's just people. I said to my dad when I was very young, I said, do people want war? He said, no. I said, politicians want war. I said, people everywhere want peace. They want a good, peaceful life. So that's what I identify with. In Buenos Aires, in Russia, everywhere. El mundo.
El mundo.
Sí.
Los Beatles son del mundo. Gracias. Gracias.
Adiós, amigos.
Hasta diciembre.
Sí.
Linda McCartney, un personaje que testimonió una época a través de un libro de fotografías, porque pertenece a esa época y porque además me parece que tiene un tercer ojo en su cámara. Linda McCartney, un personaje comprometido con su tiempo y con un tiempo de salud. Linda McCartney, bienvenida a la Argentina.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hay, creo reconocer en Linda una mujer de ideas.
Lots of ideas and hope for the future of the world.
Esas ideas tienen que ver justamente con lo que está más allá de su propia familia, pero muchas me parece para el interior, para lo que es su propia familia.
Oh, I think it all begins at home. You must practice it yourself, and if you think it works, then you try and encourage other people.
Bueno, vamos a empezar por casa entonces.
Well, ask me a question.
Voy a empezar preguntando cómo se siente el ser, primero, la compañera de ruta de un hombre tan popular, tan importante como Paul.
Well, we are best friends.
Somos los mejores amigos entre nosotros.
And it's good. We work together. We have a good, strong relationship. We love our children. And I think we are good for each other.
¿Cuáles son los cambios de aquel Paul que Linda conoció como Beatle y bueno, con tantas fans queriendo tocarlo, y este Paul tan tranquilo, tan relajado, tan familiero?
He's very creative, very artistic, and I think that will always be with him, his talent. He's not so quiet. He's not that different than he used to be. I think he was always for peace and love, and I think his music came naturally from him. And I think he's very much the same, but he has grown really, I think he's just grown as a person, but he's always had a good heart.
Hace unos días en la conferencia de prensa, cuando se le preguntó por qué Paul y Linda podían seguir juntos después de tanto tiempo, Paul dijo, porque todavía tenemos muchas cosas en común que nos interesan y nos seguimos descubriendo. La misma opinión, pero de Linda.
It's very true. I think we work so much now on the tour to spread the word of kindness, because we are in such a violent world, and we are in a world where we're destroying our environment. And we keep thinking of new reasons why we should work together to spread the word. Like in Argentina, we drive to the house where we are staying, and on the way there, coming the other way, I see truckloads of cows going to the slaughterhouse. I mean, just every day we come to the show, I see them going. Every day at night we go back, I see them going. Today we counted, I think, 14 truckloads. And we say to each other, that is why we are here, to let people know that this is very cruel, that it's very bad for the environment. So we have interest really in life together.
Sí. Uno piensa a veces en esos animales y también piensa en la raza humana, que si bien no vemos cómo mucha gente va al matadero, sí sabemos que día a día nacen quienes no tienen la suerte de sobrevivir.
I agree, and I think we must be kinder. I think for the world we must stop eating flesh. I think for each other we must stop eating flesh, and we must value everybody's life. And I think there are many good ideas that people could have to make it a better world. Obviously, I'm saying go vegetarian. I think it's very good, but I care just as much about children. We are all animals. I am an animal. Children are animals. I am just as concerned about women being beaten up, children being abused, war. I don't understand any of it. I'm just saying I think the start is by what you put in your body, and if there is no demand for flesh, because animals are murdered, and most people don't realize how this food gets on their plate. Children grow up and they want love and they love animals and they're eating animals and they don't realize the violence. So I'm trying to say, no violence. Some people think because I love animals, I don't love people. I love people as much as animals, but I think people are so cruel. I don't think animals are cruel. People are cruel to each other, they are cruel to the earth, and I think we can change it. That's all.
Linda, en casa, la idea de inculcar una forma de vida, ¿te pertenece o fue también charlada con Paul y el resto de la familia?
Many years ago, about 20 years ago, more now, we were on our farm in Scotland eating leg of lamb, and we were looking out the window admiring our little sheep. And Paul turned to me and he went, we're eating one of their legs. And we said, that was it. And we never ate fish or any flesh again, no chicken, no cows, no sheep, because we realized the violence of this. So it's good. And now doctors say that meat is not good for your health, so it all works out. This is why I make my vegetarian cookbook, to say to people, you can eat very, very well without having to have an animal murdered for your plate.
¿Los chicos salieron igual?
Oh, very much, yes.
Ayer Paul decía que era más fácil componer Yesterday o Let It Be que criar 4 hijos?
Oh, much easier, yes, because life is hard. And, you know, everybody needs a lot of time and a lot of love. We know, you know, you know. But we love our children.
Cuando llegaron a la Argentina, la decisión de irse en el auto manejando en la familia unida, juntita, ¿fue de él o tuya?
Mine. And when we were driving out there, he said, see, it's your fault. Because we had so many crazy, but it was fun. I enjoyed it.
¿Y cuál fue la idea? ¿Acercarse más? ¿Conocer más una ciudad? ¿Estar más cerca de la gente? ¿Esa habrá sido la idea tuya?
Exactly. They said you can take a helicopter. I said, yes, but I would like to feel the country. So let's drive. And Paul said, oh, okay, I'll drive. Not realizing it would be crazy. He drove very well. It was like, but we had a laugh. It was fun.
Como admirador de los Beatles y seguidor de toda mi vida, siempre pensé que Linda McCartney era una cámara fotográfica y que por eso quizás ella también elegido ir en el automóvil manejando, porque ella busca estar tomando a la gente de cerca. La música, el estar arriba del escenario junto con Paul, también es como tener la posibilidad de estar con la cámara fotográfica para testimoniar lo que ocurre.
It's true, the real truth is I wanted to see where we would be. I wanted to see the people, how they live, and I thought if we go any other way, it'll be like anywhere else. So, like you say, I'm a very visual person, so it was great. The only thing that upset me was seeing all these. That's when I first saw them that day, all these animals going to the slaughterhouse.
Y desde arriba del escenario, ¿qué es más fuerte? ¿La música o también la fotografía de estar junto con Paul y ver toda esa admiración que se despierta ahí abajo?
I love it. I love the equal. I love the music, but I look very much relate to the people in the audience.
Y la decisión de estar ahí arriba en el escenario y hacer música con su marido, ¿es también tuya?
No. No, it was his idea. I blame him. He just said, after the Beatles broke up, he said, why don't we do a group? I said, but I don't play, you know, I love music, but I don't play anything. He said, well, you could play keyboard. Here's middle C, now learn it. And I did.
Ahí estaban los Wings. ¿Y los hijos arriba del escenario no?
Not on stage, but they're very musical. James, my son, likes playing guitar. Mm-hmm. And he loves Jimi Hendrix, like we do. He loves all music, and they are all good singers, and they enjoy it, but I don't know if they will do it professionally, maybe as a hobby.
Linda, además de agradecerte este tiempo que nos has entregado aquí en la Argentina, te pido 2 favores. Uno de ellos es un plato para esta noche, rico. Una receta de estas tantas que podés recomendarnos para que las señoras la cocinen esta noche. A ver.
Tonight, I think maybe spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
I think so.
Ah, ¿cómo? ¿De qué manera?
Pasta.
¿De qué manera?
Maybe pesto with basil and garlic and olive oil.
Riquísimo. ¿Alguna cocción especial? ¿Algún tiempo?
Yes, you must not overcook the pasta. And in my cookbook, and they have this in Argentina, I understand, we use textured vegetable protein. I don't know what you call it here. There is a name. It's like gluten, maybe. It tastes like meat, but nothing has to be murdered. And there are a lot of, in my book, a lot of that.
Hay que buscarlo en su libro y yo tendré que buscar alguna persona que cocine mejor que yo para ayudarle.
Yes. Okay.
Bueno, y ahora, a ver, pongamos la cámara fotográfica y en estos días, pocos, en la Argentina, mostrame fotos de lo que más te ha impresionado y lo poco que pudiste ver de aquí a tu casa, de tu casa aquí al aeropuerto. Alguna foto de mi Buenos Aires. A ver.
Today I photographed the cows in the trucks. The faces of the children and the people, I think, and very much the audience. Last night in the show, I photographed the people. The faces in the show, I photograph a lot. And the beautiful birds and animals and trees. I think it is very beautiful here.
Muchas gracias, Linda. Conociste la Argentina. Nosotros hace mucho que conocemos a Linda McCartney y la admiramos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. I hope to come back.
Señoras, señores, Linda McCartney.
Thank
Parece
you.
mentira, pero